Hi, good afternoon. My name is Father Rayappa. Today I'm going to talk about biofuels. Many environmentalists talk about it. The fossil fuels, they pollute, they produce enormous amount of carbon dioxide. They are less efficient. So now people are talking about biofuel because biofuel pollutes less. And also the plants, they absorb it. Whatever pollution comes from biofuel, it was produced by plants. So the same plants is going to take it away. The plants act like carbon sinks. So anyway, what are the pros and cons of switching from oil to plant-based biofuels? Since biofuels are derived from agricultural crops, they are inherently renewable. That is the first one. It's renewable. Fossil fuel, once you take it away, it's lost. Coal, diesel, petrol, they were produced some 250 million years ago during the Triassic and the Silurian periods. But now, once you take it away, everything is gone, lost to the plant. So they are exhausted. So biofuels are renewable. Coal, diesel, fossil fuels are non-renewable. One-time bonanza. When it finishes, lost. But biofuel, you can again and again, you can cultivate it, and you can plant and take. And our own farmers produce them domestically, reducing our dependence on unstable foreign sources of oil. In India, every week there is a change in the prices. So because we don't have enough oil. So I think if you produce biofuel, we may be able to really have real control in India. So we should think about it. Additionally, also there is another naturally produced oil named as ethanol. Ethanol and biodiesel emit less particulate pollution than traditional petroleum-based gasoline and diesel fuels. Looked at in one way, they also do not contribute to global warming, since they only emit back to the environment the CO2 that their source plants absorbed out of the atmosphere in the first place. The transition from fossil fuels to biofuels would be relatively simple compared to other forms of renewable energy like hydrogen, solar, or wind. If you have a diesel or flex fuel vehicle, it's already biofuel compliant, and concentrations of biodiesel can be burned in home heating oil tanks. Worldwide production of biofuels rose 28% in 2006. Despite these upsides, however, biofuels are not a simple cure for our addiction to petroleum. The wholesale societal shift from gasoline to biofuel, given the number of gas-only cars already on the road and the lack of ethanol or biodiesel pumps at existing filling stations, would take some time. In other words, there is no big infrastructure like gasoline bunks and the production. At the same time, you maintain the agriculture for food, because sometimes if they cultivate biodiesel, land is degraded, and the arable land and the land which was used for agricultural production will be taken away. And as the population increases and the agricultural productivity becomes less and less because of biodiesel and the ethanol promotion. Another major hurdle for widespread adoption of biofuels is the challenge of growing enough crops to meet demand, something skeptics say might well require converting just about all of the world's remaining forests and open spaces to agricultural land, replacing only 5% of the nation's diesel consumption with biodiesel would require diverting approximately 60% of today's soy crops to biodiesel production, says Matthew Brown, an energy consultant and former energy program director at the National Conference of State Legislature. That's bad news for tofu lovers. Ethanol is primarily used today as an octane boosting fuel additive, but can also be used in 85% concentrations in flex fuel versions of such vehicles as the Ford Explorer and Chevy Silverado. In order to stimulate production, the United States offers generous tax-based subsidies to farmers who grow crops for ethanol. But according to U.S. Berkeley researcher Tad Sack, people tend to think of ethanol and see an endless cycle. Corn is used to produce ethanol. Ethanol is burned and gives off carbon dioxide, and corn uses the carbon dioxide as it grows. But that isn't the case. Fossil fuel actually derives the whole cycle. Another dark cloud is energy yields. Cornell University researcher David Pimentel, who has collaborated with Pat Sack, concludes that producing ethanol from corn requires 29% more energy than the end product itself is capable of generating. He found similarly troubling numbers in making biodiesel from soybeans. There is just no energy benefit to using plant biomass for liquid fuel, says Pimentel. We are likely to see a combination of sources, from wind and ocean currents to hydrogen, solar, and yes, some use of biofuels, meeting our future energy needs. And probably the largest single alternative fuel available to us is energy conservation. So I think even biofuel has the low side, and the best thing is we need to consume less. There is no better fuel here. Solar energy and wind energy, we talk good stuff, but when it comes to practicality, there is huge amount of infrastructure has to be built, and we have to find enormous amount of energy, like wind energy and water energy and solar energy. Solar energy, it can never run a big engine in a factory. Come on, we have to accept that. It's okay for home use, but fossil fuel is very efficient. But the best thing is energy conservation. That is the best. So use sparingly and save a lot of fuel for the future generations. Thank you. Bye.